What is up, everyone? Welcome to Sip&Awe, where God puts the on awesome. I am your host, Brandon Windsor, and this is the continuation with my buddy, Matthew Decker. And now, with this episode, we're going to be answering a very important question, and your whole life depends on it, so stay tuned. And the question is this: who is the best Spider-Man? Well, let's get in there and see what Matthew Decker has to say.
Woo!
Part 2, Matthew Decker.
A week later, it's still snowing.
Heyo, it hasn't stopped. That's how you do life in Iowa. Matt, are you ready for the sippy?
I am ready for the sippy.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thank the Lord for the day that he has made for you and me. 1, 2, 3. Oh, snapperoo. I like that beanie. What is it? What is LS?
Woo!
Losers
LS.
suck.
No, this is actually a metal band called Living Sacrifice. Christian metal band. And it's their beanie. So it's a comfortable beanie, I will say.
Matt, I'm going to be honest with you. Let's have a genuine conversation real quick.
Okay, let's do it.
So, whenever you would show me some bands while we were in Go together, I did not like 99% of the music you'd show me. I thought it was complete trash. But there was one band that I still listen to today. It's Attilas.
You mean Attilas?
Attilas.
Yes, I could get into that too. That album,
That was so good. So cool.
That is in my top 5 favorite albums of all time.
That is probably one of the only Christian albums that I can listen to the entire thing and not skip.
You would not like Living Sacrifice.
Okay. Is it like?
Yeah, they were the starters of a lot of like Christian metal bands.
Nice. Sick.
And I don't listen to them a lot, but they're very like it's borderline. Last time I listened to them was just seeing them live. I don't listen to them on like
Your own
often.
time.
But the guys are solid Christian dudes, and so
Cool.
I will support them.
I don't know if I could like ever go to a show where it was like, Jesus is Lord, man. All right, this next song goes out to him. Come on, give God a shout of praise. I don't know. Yeah, I don't hear it.
You don't hear it?
No. Well, here's the thing. I think I did this with my cousin yesterday. I think Zoom blocks out music coming in for copyright. I think because I tried to play music through my phone and he couldn't hear it. And then he did the same thing and I couldn't hear it. So I feel like, and then when I did it, Zoom was like trying to play a song. And I'm like, yeah. Okay. And so I think if it like detects music coming in, it blocks it out. I think that's so weird. I don't know.
That is rather strange. But that helps you in the end.
Yeah, it does. Well, Matt, I want to talk about something. I want to talk about Spider-Man.
Ooh, let's talk about Spider-Man.
All right, you go ahead. Yes. Look, he's on the mic. He's on the mic. Whoa. Okay, well, the first question that I think everyone is wanting to know, and this could be the whole good job. Wow. This could be the whole episode, this answer. Who is the best Spider-Man when it comes to the movies and why?
Ooh, that is a good question. And you've asked me as a Spider-Man fan. That is a difficult question.
Here, I'll let you think. Let me give my answer. I'll say Tom Holland. Is that his last name? Holland,
yeah, that is his last name.
And here's why. I really enjoy the Spider-Man movies that he's in. I've seen both the Amazing Spider-Man. They're watchable. I've seen the Tobey Maguire ones. Those ones are good. They remind me of when I was a kid because those were the only ones available when I was a small child. So they're fun. But when it comes to me actually enjoying the Spider-Man movies, it comes from Tom Holland. I think his movies were really, really, really fun. And his latest one, Far From Home.
Yes.
Yeah, that one I could rewatch that one all the time.
No Way Home.
No Way Home. That one I could watch all the time. So that's my answer. So go ahead.
Okay. This is a difficult question. I grew up with Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
Backstory, my first movie theater experience was seeing Spider-Man on the big screen.
The very first one?
Yep, the very first one with Tobey Maguire.
What year did that come out?
2002.
Dude, I was 2 years old. Whoa.
I was 6.
Wow.
And I remember being freaked out by Green Goblin.
You're like, oh God, please. Don't
Uh,
get me.
I was exactly like that.
Oh Lord.
Andrew Garfield, he is
Okay.
came next.
Okay.
And then Tom Holland, like you said. I guess I say all this to say that Tobey Maguire always has a special place in my heart because he was the first. He's the perfect nerd. He's got a very nerd-like face and punchable, I guess. Um, but in terms of being Spider-Man, he's kind of a nerd. You know, he's like a youth pastor Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, he's way too cool to be Peter Parker.
Okay.
But as Spider-Man, he's phenomenal. I would say Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man.
Okay.
Mainly because I didn't like what they did with Tom Holland with the MCU at the end, or No Way Home was like the first genuine Spider-Man movie, and at the end of the movie, it's like he's finally the real Spider-Man and not Iron Man Jr.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to what they do next because I do like Tom Holland as well.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, at this time, Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man.
Nice. Which one's your favorite? The Amazing Spider-Man 1 or Dose?
Oh,
And why?
their movies are kind of garbage a little bit.
Okay.
I would say the second one, simply because I really like the score Hans Zimmer did with the whole electro thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what they were trying to do with like the ending and all that was kind of was upsetting.
Yeah.
I would say.
Okay, next question. Who's the best Spider-Man villain?
Oh, who's the like in movies or in
Whatever.
comics?
I only know movies, but if you know another one in comic books, you can go ahead and
Well, do you have a favorite in the movies?
villain?
Yeah.
Either the Green Goblin or Dr. Octavius.
Why do you mention them?
He's got action figures. How many action figures do you have, Matt?
Too many.
Have you ever counted?
No, I have not.
Would you say that you probably have over 1,000?
Oh, I might have 1,000 for sure.
Yeah, nice.
I
I'd
have
like
a
to talk
problem.
about that after this whole Spider-Man conversation.
I have a problem in terms of movies. So I've had this. Wow, I've had this action figure for like 22 years now.
Dang.
But Green Goblin was always solid. I really like Doctor Octopus
Mm-hmm.
in Spider-Man 2,
Mm-hmm.
but I think by far the No Way Home Green Goblin in terms of movies is the best Spider-Man villain that we have seen.
I like it. I like it.
That would be my answer. My favorite comic villain though is probably Venom, who is more of an anti-hero later on. So,
Yeah.
But I really like Venom. When I was a kid, I loved Venom.
That's awesome. So let's talk about the whole your whole obsession with superheroes. Like, when did that start, and why did it start? Because I do not really enjoy superhero movies or comic books. Like, so when did it start for you? Why are you so interested? Because I love how passionate you are. Because as you can see by Matt's room, I mean, it's just covered in superhero stuff. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think it started, like when I was 6 years old, seeing Spider-Man on the big screen, and also Luke, my older brother, he is 8 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
He had a big influence in me and what I liked as well. So a lot of the music I like is because of him, and
Nice.
things like that. And so I think whenever I saw the first Spider-Man movie, I just like had that fever of, dude, I love this character. I wish I was bitten by a radioactive spider so that I could swing around and crawl on walls. And um growing up in Iowa, there wasn't a ton of things to do, so
Mhm.
you just had your imagination and a stick. And so me and my childhood best friend, we actually came up with like a whole comic storyline together
Cool. What was your
as we
superhero
were
name?
playing.
Do you remember? Or did you have one?
We never thought of one.
Oh,
We just called ourselves Matthew and Robert, and we just ran around fighting Tornado Man. Was our big villain. That was our arch nemesis, and it was a blast.
I would see that if Marvel came out with Matt and Robert, and that's it. It's just like coming to theater soon, Matt and Robert, and it's just two dudes with sticks fighting a huge tornado, and they win. Do you guys still do that? You and Robert? You guys still fight with
No,
sticks, or do you still talk to Robert?
no.
Is he still around?
Every once in a while, okay. Every once in a while, he's an example of
What not to do? Just kidding.
no, he kind of is.
Oh,
Let me get
oh,
down this trial
sorry,
of
sorry, Robert.
friends.
Okay.
It's important to have good, solid friends.
Yes.
It's one of the reasons I'm very thankful to Go Ministries,
Yes.
because I wouldn't have the friends I had without Go Ministries,
Yeah.
of which the two that I mainly talk to outside of Brandon, like maybe a month ago, when I begged him passionately to be on this podcast.
Please. Now you're here. Yeah, it's
um,
Zach and Yano and Justin, right?
yep, Yano and Justin. I talk to them the most, and then every once in a while I talk to Zach Johnson. Um, every once in a while I talk to Jeff Post.
Nice.
But Zach and Justin, they're like the true blue. Like, dude, I would drive down if they needed me to.
Yeah.
Right now. Um, but I say that like have spiritual friends. This is kind of a subject I wanted to dive into.
Let's go. Come on.
Is being with the people you're around, because Robert, we were childhood friends, went to
Hmm.
the same church together, but as we grew older, there was definitely like a split where I continued going the church route and he kind of went off into his own, um, doing his own thing,
Yeah.
which I knew he was doing.
Yeah.
Um, Part of the reason the friendship also dwindled is in 2009, I moved from Clear Lake, Iowa, which is where Buddy Holly performed his last performance.
Wow.
I grew up,
It's kind of sad.
yeah, it is sad. I grew up
Mm.
like 2 miles away from where the plane crash landed,
Dang.
um, in a field, because I grew up in the middle of nowhere. Um, Not really, but kind
Yeah,
of.
the plane didn't go far, huh?
No, yeah, it was just a random field. And if you go there, there's like you go down a gravel road, and then there's big glasses, like sculpture glasses
Uh-huh.
set up, and then you can walk. They still use the field, but you can walk the fence, and then you can go to where there's like this kind of crummy memorial.
Wow.
But
Do they only recognize Buddy Holly? Do they recognize the other performers that were on the plane?
no, they recognize the other performers,
Cool.
of which I can only quote the Big Bopper.
Yeah, and then Richie Valens, the La Bamba dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I remember he had like, or the Big Bopper, I think had a whole
Hello,
phone
baby.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but they have the surf ballroom, which has a bunch of memorabilia in there. And fun fact, I think in 2015, was that whenever the 50th anniversary was,
Mhm.
Gary Busey, who played Buddy Holly,
Oh, I love Gary
did
Busey.
he did a reunion show
I
at the
love Gary
surf.
Busey. He's such an
Uh,
interesting man.
he's so funny.
Let's talk about
Um,
smoked sausage and how it got there. Have you seen that video?
oh,
I love his Fire Stick Amazon commercial.
yes.
That is the best commercial I've ever seen in my life. I like talking to things. Hello, lamp. Hello, pants. Gary Busey.
Oh, I love it. It's so funny. But anyway, so I grew up there, and then we moved like to 2 hours west. I'm in Spencer, Iowa now. Man, I could talk. I could do a whole other episode about me and Jeff. Anyway, doesn't
Jeff
matter.
Post.
Because he was my roommate for a while. He
Hey
name
yo.
dropped me in his episode.
Hey yo.
He's a fun guy. Anyway, so we moved in 2009. That kind of drifted our relationship apart, and then got to a point where we just stopped talking to each other. And he didn't have a cell phone, and I just kind of knew um, that he's doing bad things, which got confirmed years later when I was driving back from Lone Star doing. I just played um, down there, and I was driving back up home, and he called me and talked to me on the phone for like 2 hours because his baby was being born, and so he kind of did a confessional to me talking about like, oh man, I was doing this drug, doing all this, and then like blah 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 blah. Just like
He's like, Matt, you're a Christian. I need someone to forgive me for my sins. I'm like, yeah, go to Jesus.
kind of basically like kind of. It was just kind of funny because
Uh,
he's just confirming things that I kind of already knew. But
yeah. My goodness.
so I I love him from afar, I would say. Um it's really sad, like it's really sad because we used to be, childhood best friends. His mom was very much like a mom to me when
Mm-hmm.
my mom was not really a mom to me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
one of those relationships. But so I'll always love Robert, but I wouldn't say we're necessarily friends at the moment.
Yeah. For sure.
But
And kind of going back to your main point and what you wanted to talk about being a good friend, what makes a good friend and how do you find it? How do you find a good friend? I should say.
well, how do you find a good friend? I'm going to tell the story now of how I met Jeff.
Hey guys, I just want to come on here real quick and say thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I want to challenge you with something. If you have a friend or a family member that you know will enjoy this episode, stop what you're doing and send it to them right now. If this is a message that they need, or if you know that they'll just enjoy it, send it their way so we can keep growing the Sip&Awe family. All right, guys, thank you for sharing. Let's get back to the episode. Shout out to Jeff Post, who was on the show a few months ago.
So it's a Sunday morning. I used to always sit in the front. I'd always sit in like so our chair roll
Yeah.
roll anyway would be center and then two kind of diagonal. I would always sit like right here
Okay.
next to shout out to Nathan Phillips, who is Froggy.
Nice.
He used to go to what? Yeah, from C4C. Used to be from my church. I would love him to come back. His wife's family is up here, so
That's cool.
hopefully he moves back at some point. Anyway, so I would always be up there, and we were just hanging out, and Jeff, in his big bearded phase,
Mm-hmm.
college stage Jeff, he walked up and was like, "Well, this looks like where all the young people are. So I guess I'll go hang out over here. Hi, I'm Jeff." That's how we met, and been best friends ever since.
Cool.
So what you do is you go up to people and you just, well, really to find a good friend, I would say looking at the church, you might not necessarily find your best friend just at a church, but hopefully you find a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
Surround yourself with people, with similar likes and who also love the Lord and love the word, and you can be solid. I mean, there's a friend that sticks closer than a brother, which I'd say that's Jesus and the Holy Ghost. But you can also have friendships like that, like Zach and Justin for me, who, like I said, I would call them whenever, and I'd drop whatever I need to drop to help them out, or vice versa. So
yeah. Have you ever, besides Robert, had to like cut someone off because you were kind of going the Jesus route and they necessarily weren't? Did you ever have to do that?
That is a good question. Um, I don't think I did because I've always grown up in the church,
Okay.
and so most of my friends were always in the church.
Yeah.
Um, well, now I'm thinking way back to my very early childhood. My parents saw that like the neighbor kid, and by neighbor I mean he lived like half a mile away,
Hmm. Okay.
was a very bad influence. So
Yeah.
they kind of ended that friendship cold turkey.
Yeah.
He was quite a bit older than me, and he was a jerk. Like all my memories, we had like one of those swimming pools that you just set up outside. It was a plastic one that
Yeah.
above ground
Yeah. Yeah.
could maybe get to 3 feet. He
Yeah.
had his like friend over and was like, "Okay, you gotta swim down and you gotta touch the bottom and stay down there," and was like dunking him under. And the guy was like, "Oh, this sucks! Like, stop doing that!" Like
What
he
in the
is.
world?
This kid was a terrible kid.
What in the world? Do you know what he's doing right now or where he
No
is today?
idea. I don't
He's
even
like
know his name.
he's like
He
he's
was
in
just
prison.
could be.
Who knows? Yeah, I was just curious because I had to because I got when I got saved in 2018, all my buddies like to smoke weed and party, and
Yeah.
so I kind of learned that the hard way. So when I got saved, I would still try to hang out with them, but not partake in what they were doing. And then one night, I remember this so vividly. We're in the car, they're passing around the bong, and they like do this to me so I can take a hit. I'm like, no, I'm good. And then my friend's girlfriend's like, "Oh no, he doesn't do that. He's Christian. He the only reason why we have him here is so he can forgive us for our sins because he's Jesus now." And I was like, "Yeah, I can't hang out with these people." And so it basically here's the thing. I did definitely did not do this the correct way. I didn't have the courage to say anything, so I just like cut people out and I just totally disappeared. And that probably isn't the healthiest way to do it, but I just totally stopped answering people's phone calls. I basically disappeared. And the people are like leaving voicemails, well, dude,
Gosh.
answer your phone, man. What the heck? We're trying to hang out. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. So,
Oh man.
yeah.
What's funny is I have a cousin who has a band called the Trip Setters.
The trip
Or
setters?
no, actually no, just Trip Setter.
That's
And I remember telling you about him, and you told me that that's the person who doesn't smoke weed, and so you were the Trip Setter,
oh,
and or the yeah, that's their name. Anyway, my
oh,
cousin was selling weed and stuff.
yeah.
I guess that's an example of people that have. I did well. It's family, so I don't drop them cold turkey.
Yeah.
But like we used to hang out more when we were younger because good old Christian folks. And
Yeah.
then
And
sometimes
there's
you do have those friends who they leave the faith and go on an adventure, and then you just gotta pray for them from afar. And then
mhm,
one of these days, like I have another cousin who she seems to be doing very solid now, but she would sleep around,
mhm.
and maybe 20 years of sweeping around to finally, hey, this is not the right way to live, and
Yeah.
then she's doing good. So
Yeah. What's kind of funny is like there's friends, people you can kind of get like get rid of, but then there's family, and if they don't really quote unquote believe in what you believe, you just have to send. And that's you don't. I don't want to say tolerate, but it's like you learn how to love without being influenced by their example, or you learn
mhm,
how to love without being influenced by their opinions about you walking the Christian faith,
mhm.
which is pretty cool. It's definitely not easy. It's really difficult. It's very hard. But at the end of the day, it's like it's kind of cool that you kind of walk that out. It's like, wow, like I'm seeing the side of Jesus when he would love sinners, or he
Mhm.
would eat with tax collectors and prostitutes. But and of course, he wasn't affected by his environment, and people saw Jesus and was like influenced by him, and they wanted what he had, and they weren't perfect, and so and two, I have some family members where they don't necessarily believe, but my walk has inspired them not to get saved, but they're like, "What you're doing is really cool." I'm like, "Thanks." So
Well, you did. Your brother got saved,
he
so
did. He did get saved,
that is that makes me very happy because
and
oh,
I don't know if you know this. It's really cool. I don't think you'll mind me sharing this, but he's going to Rhema.
whoa,
Isn't that cool?
that's super awesome.
Yeah, he's going
Sometimes
to
I'm like,
Rhema.
should I have went to Rama?
No, Matt, you were supposed to go because
No,
if you went to
okay.
Rhema, we would have never met. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's
Or
true.
maybe we could have met like if God like did like a cool thing is like,
Well, speaking of Rama, I wanted to mention this. I commented on your episode with Jamal
oh yes,
because
yes,
in 2022 we celebrated Thanksgiving down in Tulsa
that's
because I
cool.
have a lot of family there.
Nice.
I like that cousin I mentioned with that one band. He's from Tulsa area. And so me and my cousin, who I call Granny Cuz, because she's technically my dad's cousin,
Okay.
um, but she's like, grandma age to, you know, for my generation.
Yeah.
So me and her, we for some reason we split off from the rest of the group and we just went to the Rama Lights. And
That's
while I
cool.
was walking the Rama Lights, I run into Jamal,
Yeah, it was so
who's just
bizarre.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was weird because I remember I was with Jacob Zirkle and we're hanging out and I hear Brandon. I'm like, what the heck?
And what's funny is Jacob went earlier in the day,
Uh
and oh, what's his name? Why am I? Moser went later in the day.
dang.
So at the same day, we all went to Rama Lights,
That's cool.
but I only ran into Jamal, and it was super cool. He was like, you know, it was
Yeah.
cool because he met my granny cuz, who my granny cuz is a strong Christian, but she's kind of she's later on in life, so her church that she went to for many years shut down,
Mm,
and is kind of was going to another church that her sister went to, but then her sister passed, and then her husband passed, so she's kind of in a she doesn't have a church she goes to on Sunday. She
gotcha.
watches online, and then she has like I think a girls' Bible study and stuff.
Okay.
But it was cool for them to meet because it's like, oh, this is my one friend who's one
Yeah.
of my many friends who's a part of a church. Like I
Yeah, it's really
have
cool.
I have like 5 to 10 friends in Tulsa area, all in different churches.
Yeah. Did you meet Jamal at C for C?
I did.
Cool.
I met Jamal. What year? Well, I think I met him when he was a youth, and then he became a youth leader, and then he got married and is like a youth pastor,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So he's one
Yeah.
of those youth you see grow up.
Yeah, I met
Um,
him in 2020 when we were in Oklahoma for C for C, and the first night I was just standing there, and he was just like, "Hey, man, like we're just talking, yada yada yada." And then
mhm.
I found myself like standing next to Jamal that entire week every time a service started because it's like he's super sweet. Um, and then that following, so that year, I went to Oklahoma for Thanksgiving with Jacob Zirkle, who's actually coming on the podcast very soon.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm
Anyways,
excited for that.
um, yeah, and then so we went to Rainbow Lights, me, Jacob, and his friend Matthew, and then I ran into Jamal. I was like, no way. And so I really like my relationship with Jamal. And it's the same thing with Joey Call because I didn't do go with Joey and I didn't really do a lot of life with Jamal, but one encounter had just like sparked this friendship and it's really cool.
he
So
has that he has that way about him because
yeah.
that same year at C for C, because they were talking about eternity and what we'll be doing in eternity. So I went up to Jamal and I'm like, "Hey, party at your house in eternity. We're partying it up at your place in heaven. And
Yeah.
so if you want to like I'll invite you now in the future when we're in heaven. There's going to be a party at Jamal's place.
Yeah.
Not sure when. We're not there yet, but I'm sure he'll love you there.
You can walk into heaven, or you hear
Yes.
it's just this huge mansion. You just see Jamal's like, come on, man, welcome. What's up, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it's happening.
We're having a party at Jamal's house. Well, Matt, sadly,
What?
it's about that time.
No, it can't be because we
It
didn't
it
like
is.
you ended the last podcast on a cliffhanger and we never got to the cliffhanger.
Ugh. What was the cliffhanger?
The cliffhanger was we were going to talk about what I was been studying with the
Oh,
group that
how
I've
about
been with.
this? I'll give you 5 minutes.
Wait, so we're totally derailing this to a different topic? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
well, we only got 10 minutes anyways. You know what? We'll let this whole thing end. So you have 9 minutes and 53 seconds.
shoot.
I know that's not a lot of time to unpack what you've been learning.
So back to the previous conversation.
which
We've been
was
diving into Romans. Me,
cool.
Pastor Mark, Kyle, Joseph. Um, and it's been interesting because Joseph, he's from a different denomination. He's from Congregational, which is more open to everybody, more like I would say, people pleaser type of,
Mm,
but also very religious. So it's very interesting to hear his take on things. Um, so it's been an interesting discussion. We've made it so far to Romans chapter 4, and
okay.
we've been meeting since November.
Wow.
And so, really just diving in. And I would say, since we don't have a lot of time, the biggest takeaway with Romans and why it's so full of meat is you have Paul kind of reteaching the Jews, reteaching the Jews that, hey, the Gentiles are wrapped into, like, they have this covenant as well,
Yeah.
which is awesome to see. So, talking about how it's no longer about circumcision in the natural, but it's a circumcision of the heart,
Right.
and it's a heart issue,
Cool.
not a you have to do these works.
Yeah.
Because around the same time, Paul just got him and you know um, Peter argued about it because Peter was still very much talking about the law, and Paul was like, "Hey, where Jesus came, he fulfilled the law."
Yeah.
Like, and so we've been diving in and like reading the Greek, and I'm the youngest of the group, so
That's cool.
yeah, Pastor Mark, he's 35, then Joseph is 42, and Kyle is, I think, 47. So a
Nice.
lot of times I just let them talk, and I'm just kind of sitting there like, yeah, that's good, that's good.
Yeah.
Um, and then sometimes you read and you're like, what did we read? And then we have to go back in studying the Greek, and it's amazing how different verses correlate with what he's talking about,
Yeah.
confirming what he's talking about. And like I said, we've been meeting weekly for quite a few months, and we're just now in chapter 4.
Cool.
So,
Give us one scripture that really stood out to you in Romans.
well, one of the things, Romans 4:18. This is the new.
Romans
This is the
14.
King James version. Who against hope believed in hope that he might become the father of many nations, according to which was spoken, so shall thy seed. Which this is talking about Abraham, and just that phrasing of this took, like, we sat on this for a while chewing it, of what who against hope believed in hope,
Yeah.
because you just hear that phrasing and you're like, what does that mean?
Yeah. I
And
like
what
that.
we got at was, well, this is what I got out of it is, against hope, you know, a common phrase is, I hope this happens,
Hmm.
but yet it's so full of doubt. You're
Mm.
like, oh, I hope I get $1 million given to me, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
He went against that hope, and he believed in the faith type of hope
That's
that
cool.
this will happen,
Yeah.
and that he might become a father of many nations. And there, just that alone is like, just,
Yeah. I love what the Passion says. The
oh,
Passion says, against all odds, when it looked hopeless, Abraham believed the promise and expected God to fulfill it. He took God at his word, and as a result, he became the father of many nations. God's declaration over him came to pass.
amen.
That's good, brother.
Which Abraham,
He's a G,
he
son.
he was willing to take his son Isaac, go up a mountain,
Dude.
and was totally willing to kill his son because he trusted the Lord,
Yeah.
and the Lord had to stop him. He was like, "Whoa, hey there,
Yeah.
I believe you." And so,
Something that John Bevere said um, is the scripture says when God tells him to do it, it says early the next morning, Abraham got up. And so
mhm.
it's like it was immediate obedience.
And then you think of, because what, it could be debated how old Isaac was.
Uh huh.
He was like, I think they debate that he was between like 13 and 20. So you
Wow.
just imagine a teenager. I've kind of always leaned towards he was 15.
Yeah.
He had the faith to go up with his father as well, and it wasn't until he was up there where he's like, "Okay, where's the ram?" And Abraham was like, "God, the Lord will provide." And then
Yeah.
you imagine getting tied up, like, "Okay, the
Okay.
Lord will provide. The Lord will provide."
And then Abraham's like
So
this with a knife, and he's like, "Oh, oh, okay." Yeah,
yeah,
it's nuts,
so
man.
crazy faith. Anyway,
That's good stuff, man. Well, any last remarks for the Sip&Awe crew?
I love this podcast.
Thanks. We love you too, man.
I would very honored to be a part of it. I love seeing it grow,
Thanks.
and I just want it to continue to grow. And you're doing an awesome, amazing job.
Thanks, Matt. I really
Um,
appreciate it.
I think I need to buy a T-shirt, and if you ever ask me back on, I'm down.
Abso-stinking-lutely. Hopefully, the next time you're on is in person. Ooh, that'd
That
be
would be
fun.
fantastic.
That'd be
I will.
funsies.
I will let you know. I will be in
Yes.
the area, hopefully during Southwest Believers.
When
So
is that? August?
yeah, or I think it's in July this year,
Cool.
or C for C if we're in the same area.
Ooh, cool.
If I go to C for C, I missed last year anyway.
Mhm. Did they ask you to
Um,
play?
no, they didn't.
Oh, okay.
But I played right. I played for Mark Hankins at Lone Star, so I saw Lone Star off as they left for C, and I was like, "Oh, this is the first year in 15 years that I'm missing."
Dang,
Oh well,
man. Well,
God's
Matt,
still good.
thank you for being so fun. Thank you for being so cool. Here's the thing, Matt. I'll say this before we end. You're so unique in your very own way, which means like I love your style. Like no one else in Go loved superheroes as much as you did, or loved movies as much as you did, and so you're just so unique. You're so fun, and so
Thank you, sir.
Matt, you're the
You're
bee's
fun.
knees. Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate it. So I really enjoyed our time together. For those of you listening, you can now listen to Spotify, or you can't listen to Spotify. You can listen to Sip&Awe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and watch on YouTube. You can now buy merch with the link in the description.
March.
Merch. Yes, Matt's gonna be buying it right now. Just kidding.
I need
Um,
to get paid first.
yes, yes, payday's coming. All right,
Oh
Matt.
yes.
Thanks for doing this. You're the best, and thanks, Matt.
Thank you.